Welcome to our channel, everyone. My name is Aman. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and we make videos related to immigration topics for coming to Canada. Last week, we got a call from a wonderful person from Australia who wants to come to Canada, and he appreciated all the information he has seen on this channel so far. And he complained that why we haven't made a video about people who want to come to Canada from Australia. It got me thinking, and I decided that let's make this video. And in this video, we're going to cover all the topics of people who want to come from Australia, not just Australia, many other countries to Canada, and what are the different pathways available for them. So I hope you find this information useful for you. And if you are in one of the countries which we are going to list in this video and you want to come to Canada, this video is going to tremendously help you. So sit tight, relax, and we're going to continue right away. Okay, so let's start. We are going to discuss how you can come to Canada if you are in Australia. And not just Australia, if you look on your screen, there is a list of countries which are going to have a similar benefit or rules regarding coming to Canada as a visitor, work permit, or permanent resident. You can pause the video right now and you can have a look at your screen. If your country is in this list, the video is going to apply to you as well. So things to consider when you want to come to Canada as a visitor or on work permit or permanent resident, and you are living in one of these countries or Australia. The first is your status in that country. The status could be, you could be on a study permit, you could be on a work permit, you could be on a visitor visa, or you could be a permanent resident or citizen in that country. And all of these are things which are going to be important while considering the different options. Then age. Canada's immigration is basically a point-based system. So it's going to give you point based on age, education, work experience, your job experience, your IELTS scores, your relatives in Canada, and if you have a job offer from Canada. So all of these points are on your screen, and these are important things to consider when you want to decide that if you want to come to Canada in any of different options. Then the getting Canadian permanent resident residency from Australia as an Australian national. So if you are a citizen of Australia or you have a permanent residency there is no specific benefit for that residency or citizenship, because as I mentioned before, Canadian permanent residency is a point-based system and they do not give any preference to any specific national. So if you are from Australia or from Nigeria or from India or from China and you have a similar profile, there is not going to be a preference given to any person from any different nationality. The preference for permanent residency is based on a first come, first served basis. So if you make a profile for Express Entry today and the next week there is a draw and there are 7 people who have the similar scores and similar profiles, the person who did the application first will get the preference. And point-based system, you have the option of getting permanent residency under the Express Entry profile, where you make a profile in the Express Entry pool saying that, hey, I want to come to Canada and this is my profile. Based on that, you will be assigned a certain number of points, and if your point cutoff is over the required cutoff of that Express Entry draw, you're going to be invited to apply for permanent residency for Canada. And the other option is provincial nomination. So if you make a profile in that Express Entry pool, the provinces also keep looking at that pool from time to time, and if your work experience and your education matches with something they require in that province at that specific time, they will also give you a nomination to get extra points in your Express Entry pool, which will put you over the cutoff and you're going to be invited to apply for getting permanent residency to Canada. So overall, there is no specific benefit of being a citizen or resident or of a specific country if you want to apply. You just need to understand your points based on that point-based system grid. Then if you want to come to Canada on a visitor permit and you are an Australian national, you have a citizenship or permanent residency of Australia, then definitely there is going to be a benefit, because Canada and Australia do have certain type of agreements for people who want to come visit and work in Canada, and there's definitely going to be a benefit. You will be given priority. And for making a successful visitor visa application, you should show that you're financially capable of taking care of yourself and funding that whole trip. Then you need to show that you have a valid reason to be in Canada and most importantly, you've got to show that you have a reason to return to Canada. So if you are able to convince the immigration officer of all three of them that you are financially capable of taking care of the trip, you have a reason to be in Canada, and you have a reason to return, your visitor visa application is going to be approved. And the timelines for the visitor visa application from Australia and all of these other countries on the list is not that much. So likely within a month, your application is going to be decided, and very likely if you're making the officer convinced of all three of them, you will get an approval. The most important is the work permits for all of these countries. If you are a resident from that list of these countries, a permanent resident or a citizen of this country, you do have the option of applying for multiple different work permits. You have to be a citizen of these countries. Like in this example, if you want to come to Canada on a work permit, there is a agreement between Australia and Canada called International Experience Canada, and it gives the youth who are citizens of Australia 3 different options to come to Canada on a work permit. One of them is a working holiday. One of them is young professionals work permit. Another one is international CoOp work permit. We're going to speak about all of them, but keep in mind that all 3 options are not available for all of the countries on that list, which we mentioned earlier. Some of them, those countries would only have the option of applying for a working holiday, and some of them would have the option of applying for all of them. So if you want to check, I will leave that link below in the description box, so you can go on there and check your country and check which work permit is eligible for you. Okay, so moving on, let's quickly check the working holiday visa for Australian nationals. This is going to be a work permit visa given to anybody who is a Australian citizen for about 24 months. So you have the application available to be applied for 24 months. You can do an application for 18 months, you can do an application for 12 months, and the maximum is 24 months. And while you have that work permit, you will be able to travel in Canada anywhere, and also allowed to get a temporary job wherever you are. So for example, if you come from Australia to Ontario and you decide that for 2 months I want to live in Ontario, roam around and travel there, and while you are in Ontario you want to just take a job to cover up your expenses, you can do that. And after 2 months you can go to another province and do the exact same thing, provided you just find a job over there. The trick here is that you can only apply for this type of work permit only once, and the age limit for applying for this work permit, it used to be 30 years maximum, but they recently got increased to 35. So if you are between the ages of 18 and 35 and you're an Australian citizen, you should be able to apply for this specific type of a work permit. And you just need to show the immigration officer that you have $2,500 Canadian to cover your expenses. And it helps that if you get a job offer from a Canadian employer already, this is definitely going to strengthen your application. And the last thing, you need to show that you have health insurance while you're in Canada, because Canada do not want to pay for your accidental health coverages. Then the next one is the younger professionals as Australian nationals. If you want to come to Canada and you're an Australian citizen, you're a post-secondary graduate who wish to come to Canada and work in Canadian industry, you can apply for this type of work permit. The participants must have a signed offer letter from a Canadian company. So this is just a trick that if you want to come here through this work permit, you just need to apply for jobs in Canada as soon as an employer is willing to hire you. The majority of the employers didn't know about this type of a work permit. If they don't know, you just need to tell them that you are eligible to get a 2-year work permit into this program, provided they give you a job offer. Okay, and the other thing is that you can only participate in this type of work permit once. And then the next one is the international CoOp. The previous one is for the people who have graduated. This one is for Australian citizens who are enrolled into the post-secondary institutes in Australia, and they want to come to Canada to do their internship. You have to be a registered student in Australia, and you must complete a work placement or internship in Canada to fulfill part of their academic curriculum up to 12 months. So basically you can get your internship done from Canada. and you need to have a signed letter of offer or a signed contract of employment before submitting the profile to the pool where you're going to be selected from. So basically, you just need an employer who is willing to hire you for this internship. Again, the point is that you can only apply for this type of a work permit just once. So that was all the details of people who can apply if they're Canadian citizens. You have the options of applying for permanent residency, visitor visas, or work permit. And then obviously there are going to be people in Australia who do not have their permanent residencies or citizenship. Those are the people who have temporary status in Australia. So the similar options apply to them. They can come to Canada on a visitor permit, work permit, or permanent residency. They can apply directly for that. If you apply for a visitor permit while being a temporary resident of Australia, the requirement for Canadian visitor study or work permit is that you have to show that you have intentions to go back and you have reasons to go back to Australia. And if your status in Australia is not permit, they would see that as a negative factor. So you have to understand that when you're doing an application like that, you have to strengthen your application by providing more evidence and proof, showing that you have specific reasons. For example, if you're a student in Australia and you want to come to Canada as a visitor, show your transcript, show that you have more studies to be completed in Australia to get your degree. So that could be a positive thing for you, saying that yes, I'm coming to Canada, I'm going to stay there for 2 weeks, but I now gotta go back to Australia to complete my studies. But if you're in a visitor permit there or a work permit there, you can use your job offer as a reason to go back. But if you're in a visitor permit and your permit is expiring in Australia, then the likeliness of your temporary permit being approved for Canada is going to go down, because obviously they're going to see that your permit in Australia is going to expire, and then you're going to come back to Canada and you're probably not going to go back. So it's very likely that at that point of time your permit for Canada is going to be expired. So before you do an application to come to Canada, make sure that you have a valid permit which is going to be for a long period of time and a valid reason to go back to Canada. For work permit applications, if you have work experience from Australia, that's definitely going to be an advantage for your work permit application, because Canada and Australia do share a similar type of work culture, and many jobs are very similar in Australia and Canada. So if you have an experience from there, it's going to definitely come in handy to you. If you are on a temporary permit in Australia and you want to come to Canada as a permanent resident, so since I mentioned before, this is going to be a point-based system, and the nationality does not really matter. So if you are a national of another country living in Australia on a temporary permit, you can still apply for the Canadian permanent residency. Your experience from Australia is definitely going to be helpful. It's not going to be any specific advantage, but as long as your age, education, work experience, relatives in Canada, IELTS or language test ability show that you have the right amount of cutoff points, you are going to be invited to apply for permanent residency of Canada. So you just need to make sure that you qualify for that specific class of application and you have enough points that put you over the required cutoff for the permanent residency of Canada. Well, now that you have seen all of this information about coming from different countries to Canada through the wonderful programs they have and many different agreements Canada has with different countries, I just want to say that since Canada is going through a very difficult phase of immigration, you shouldn't just do this application yourself. You should at least consult an immigration consultant or an immigration lawyer, just because Canada's programs are closing and changing without any prior notice. So it may happen that you have done an application thinking that this is going to come through in 6 months or 1 year. It may not even happen. So understand the immigration system, understand where the projections are going, then only do your application. If you want our team to do an assessment for you, we're going to leave all the information to book a consultation with us in the description section down below. Book a consultation, we'll see what is the possible option for you, which is going to probably happen sooner than 6 months or a year, and which is going to definitely get you the benefits of our knowledge to come to Canada. Having said that, if you like the information in this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends, because the more like buttons you hit, we will beat the YouTube algorithm so that it gets to more and more people and gets shared more and more. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hope the information is something which you were looking for. and stay safe, please.